Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 6 of the Student Insider podcast. I am joined once again by Alex. Alex, how are you doing today?
Hello. I'm good, doing good, Luke. How you doing? It's been a while for the podcast, hasn't it? But I'm
Yeah,
good
it
to be back. Happy
has.
to be
It
back.
has. It's been a very long time, but majority of that is
Not too
actually
long.
my fault. But I have an explanation though, and I want to firstly apologize to Alex. Pretty much over this summer, I think I spoke about it in some other episodes, but I've been busy doing a project, and it came to a close last Sunday. So it's been.
You can do a little. You can do a little humble brag.
I think I might do a bit of a humble brag. I'm not sure, but so basically, I'll put a link to the website that our team made, and also a link to the news article that was posted at King's if you wanted to have a read of that and just to see what everything was about. I'm really quite impressed by that, but try not to brag. But yeah, so I don't know if anyone has heard of iGEM. I actually have our team fleece on right now. Again, another flex. Have you
Love
seen
it.
this, Alex? Have you seen this?
Yeah. I saw it on one of our calls last week. I think. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
I like
So
it.
we got our
Yeah.
logo and then the iGEM logo, which is the name of the
Mm,
competition. So yeah,
mm.
we managed to get a gold medal in iGEM, and I could send you a video of our team when we saw the results. It was quite funny. There was champagne
I saw the.
everywhere.
I saw the picture with you lot on Zoom
Yeah,
and the rest of them there.
I couldn't
Yeah.
make it unfortunately because I've had like COVID in the house, so I've had to isolate, and it's been a while. Haven't seen the outdoors in quite a while. I do miss the nice winter breeze. You know? So it's been a bit of a struggle, but we're fine. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, other than that, please feel free to go and check out my project. It would mean a lot. And you can see all the cool things that I've been doing over the summer. But Alex, what have you been doing in this light
What have
little
I
break
been
that we've
doing?
had in the last episode?
Ooh, let's see. Well, still, uni stuff. I recently started a filmmaking competition thing I'm doing with filmmaking sock.
Cool.
It's like so it's like I'm in a group with two other people, and there's like three other groups, and we're all like making a short film, um, which is cool. Ours is based, so
Awesome.
we all got like um a prompt and an object that we have to use. So our prompt was a project that starts well but ends badly. What can you do?
I
That's
see.
what
I
we got
see.
given. I, it's nice, it's cool, and our object was a book, so we came up with like a writer, and he's writing a book, and he is nearly finished, and he's got his deadline in like a couple of days. And then he
Mhm.
said, "Oh, I need a different location to finish my work because he's finding it struggle to finish the book, and he books like a holiday thing. But then lockdown 2.0 gets announced, so he's like, "Oh no, I can't go on my holiday," and it's basically to finish
Oh,
his book,
cool.
and it kind
Who
of
is
ends with
the
that.
who is the star of this
I am
short?
the I am the
You
star
know,
of the short film.
Alex, I have to see this when it's done. I want some insider like
Okay,
on
yeah.
this, but
I, I finished the version one edit last night. So I sent that to the group and just getting some
cool.
feedback on that. And we just got some finishing stuff to film with it. Like we need to film like a Zoom call thing. So like I'm the writer, and then the other two is like the editor and the publisher. Add that in there.
I see.
Yeah, I don't like a. I was playing around with After Effects and doing some it's like cool. So I grabbed some stuff from like the news, and tried to make it look like it was the camera was filming the TV. Like you getting loads of little squares across the screen. Um,
Oh, cool.
yeah, so that's something I'm playing. I've been playing around with After Effects a bit recently. I've been watching quite a bit of like these video essay things on YouTube that I found quite interesting. So it's like 20 to 30 minute videos that like explore different topics. And I've been really liking them, and I like the edit style of them. So that's something that I've just been trying to learn a bit more, because I'm also working on a documentary with filmmaking sock.
Oh, wow. So
Um,
you're doing a lot with the
yeah,
filmmaking stock. I see.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah, yeah. It's fun. I like it, and yeah. So I've just been trying to learn a bit of After Effects so we can incorporate in that. But yeah, otherwise than that, I don't know,
Awesome. Have you?
Photostock, still doing that. Still got my YouTube channel, making videos on that. I worked for like 2 weeks on a video edit this past couple of weeks. It took me like the majority of the time was editing the first 2 minutes, and the rest of it took me like an hour to finish after that. But it was just like I was focused. It was just a really different style that I was doing. But yeah, other than that, yeah,
Cool.
pretty
Well,
good.
everyone get
Um,
excited for that. So I have one question, Alex. Seeing as you're like the president of the Photography Society, are you going to be judging all of the entries
for
for the short film about the
they're
book?
not they're not related. The filmmaking society is a different one to the photography society.
Ah, so you're
Yeah, yeah.
not
So I'm a
Phil.
member of the
Oh,
member of Filmmaking Society, not on the committee for filmmaking, but I'm a committee for Photography Society. So yeah, there actually is another competition we're doing for Photography Society, which is different, which is like we're having members enter photos to do with product photography. So like taking pictures, I don't know, with like playing cards or whatever, or something around your house. Because like as the theme of lockdown came in, we were like, okay, let's give them because we do like a monthly theme where we give members like an idea and then they can enter and then win prizes. So this month was product photography. So then like the committee and us are going to go through all the photos, and then we have like a voting thing for all the members and stuff like that, and give prizes to the winners. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because if you're the president of the filmmaking society, you could just rig the election, you know.
Yeah, I know. I don't think I can. I don't think. I don't
vote for yourself.
Yeah, I know. I don't think that we can do that, but you know, I don't think the president can even compete. Maybe I don't know how it works, but I don't know.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, but no, that sounds really cool. So
yeah,
I wanted to start a little new thing on this with the episode. So basically, I'm just like a random question that's like completely unrelated to anything at the start of every episode. So the question that I thought of for today was, what is a like random, like interesting thing that you have just sitting on your desk or in your room? And you know, where did it come from and why is it there?
Okay, let's have a look.
He's on the move.
An interesting thing. Oh, I don't know.
I put you off guard here, haven't I, Alex?
Yes, I like it though. An interesting thing. What would you define interesting?
Okay, not like a bit of stationery or anything that you'd expect on a desk. You know, like something a bit unique.
Something out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say my playing cards then. Because like not everyone has a deck of playing cards on their desk.
That's true. I don't have a deck of playing cards on my desk.
So yeah, I always have this on my desk. I've always enjoyed, as you know, doing a bit of card tricks and
very well.
That kind of
stuff.
stuff.
You're not like one of those like really bad magicians. Like it's actually really good with the card tricks.
Yeah, something I used to do it quite a bit. I've not been doing it so much over like the last year really, but like always when I'm like at my desk, I usually have it just grab it in my left hand or something and just like do a few things like that. Usually when I'm editing as well, I'll just, especially when I have to render a clip for or something, it's just like if I'm waiting for something or like say my computer's being slow, I just grab my cards and just.
Is it more of like a thing just like to like fiddle with, or is it like an actual like practice? You're practicing like your technique?
It's more like just something to fiddle with or just like keep myself busy kind of thing, I guess. Not really like I don't really say okay, I'm going to sit down and practice. It's just like it just happens whenever. I don't really think about it much.
Oh, cool. Okay, that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's something quite. Yeah, I guess not many people usually have a deck of playing cards on a desk. So
there you go. That's it. Okay, I'm quite satisfied with that. So we'll do that every week. Hopefully, we'll probably forget about the next one.
Maybe I'll come up with a question for you next week. And
we'll alternate, and then we can, when we have guests on, we can just randomly ask them like stupid questions, like what's your favorite color or something silly like that. You know, that'd be pretty funny. Okay, so right, actually into the episode. So today we have titled this video
podcast episode
habits to build and crush it at university. So I think in order to start this, I think the best thing that we can do is just to describe like our habits, or our good and our bad habits, and maybe ones that we've got into recently that are bad or good, or maybe ones that we managed to get out of. So Alex, what are some, you know, like some habits that you had before maybe coming to university, and you know, how did you notice that they were a problem, and what did you do to like overcome them?
So when I came back for second year, right, in end of September, I saw my screen time increase a lot, like from when I was at home, and when I went back to uni, I was like, wow, my screen time has increased. Like it was like slowly increasing. It went all the way up to like 5 hours, and I was like, I'm not happy with that.
How did you figure out what your screen time was? Is there like an app that you used, or is it like just?
So yeah, on iPhone, which I've got, there's like the screen time feature, which shows you like your average of every day and like what categories those apps are under, what exact apps they are. So I was like, at this point, I already done a couple social media detoxes where I like went off social media for like a week, and then I've done one for a month and stuff like that, and that really like made me reflect a bit. But then when I went back on when there's just time increases, as you know, like it's so easy to just spend time on your phone. So I was like, okay, I want to do something about this. I want to kind of like fix it. So what I started to do was like, okay, I'm already like don't have notifications enabled mostly on my phone, like Instagram off, even Snapchat off. Only notifications I have are the news, Messages, so WhatsApp, iMessage, that kind of stuff. Do I have any other ones enabled? I don't think so. Facebook Messenger, because I get like messages to do with like the stuff I'm involved in, like
The
filmmaking
society stuff.
society.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of need that on. But other than that, I just think intentionally of when the whole point of this is that I don't want notifications to take me to my phone to get distracted or do something. I want to, if I'm going onto it, I'm going to want to go onto it with more of a purpose, just be a bit more intentional with it. And I've seen, if I looked at my screen time over like, I don't know, maybe like a month or so, I've seen that it's slowly decreased. And I'm at about a point now where I'm averaging about 1.5 hours a day. Like each time,
That's really good.
Yeah. So each week where I get the notification, it's like, it's down by 7%, it's down by 14%, it's down by X, Y, Z, which I've kind of like, because I keep seeing it decreasing a bit. So yeah, I'm happy with that, because it's like that constant dopamine hit when you're on your phone, like when you're like just consuming content and stuff like that. And also, I use do not disturb mode. So for like, I schedule it on the phone, like in the settings, you can say, okay, I want it to be enabled from this time to this time, but I do let phone calls come in. So like, if I get a phone call, it's going to come in, because I don't want to not
Oh,
have
so you
phone
can
calls
like
come in.
you can
Yeah,
edit like the amount of things that are blocked with the do not disturb thing.
yeah.
Oh,
So you can
cool.
either have it that you only let favorite phone calls come in, or like any phone call. So yeah, I just have it on any phone call. And yeah, pro tip that I heard from something I was reading by Tim Ferriss is that don't answer phone calls from numbers you don't know, because then you'll start getting more calls from numbers you don't know, and that will just slowly increase over time, and then you're just getting a load of phone calls from like, you know, people trying to sell you something. Yeah, so yeah, that's just something I read the other day in like a, you know what, one of those things that when you sign up to an email newsletter, you get like a free PDF. So I found that quite interesting. Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, because I've noticed that as well. Like sometimes when I put my email into like, I think the most recent thing I was trying to download, I think Sigma Plot, which is like a graphing software. And a lot of like the scientific softwares, like the websites are not very well made, because a lot of like the money that they have has gone into actually making the software, and the websites are like really minimum.
Oh,
And yeah, I've noticed that whenever I put my email or my number into those things, I end up getting like an increase in the amount of like emails that are just completely irrelevant.
yeah.
Like I got a
That's
message. I got a message the other day from HSBC saying that like someone called Sarah has like transferred, like I've transferred Sarah money or something, and I'm not even with HSBC. So I was like, something's definitely wrong here.
Yeah, it's like you have to be so on the look for things that like phishing emails when they try to steal your details. I think like you need to be careful and like just check the email address. Is that real? Like if they're trying to lead you to a website which doesn't look right and you're entering your details and they could steal it, like you have to, like you just have to be careful with stuff like that, because the people out there that are going to send you stuff like that, and it's really sad. Like that people.
Yeah, it
that
definitely is. Like it's crazy, like the amount of like scamming and stuff that happens with that sort of thing.
Yeah. So what would you say in terms of the habits, like for you? That
Oh God, the thing is, I think the habits for me was sort of like not being able to balance like the social aspects and the study aspects. Like I just had this stigma from year like, so like basically doing A levels, so like year 12 and 13, that if I wasn't studying every day, I wasn't going to get like the best grades. And I think what I should have realized is that I should have got into like a habit of doing like having a better study routine and having a better study technique in order to save myself time. Because I mean, because I had to do the admission tests on top of everything else that we were doing, like on my not my degree. Sorry, I'm so used to saying that because I'm at uni, but like doing the A levels, and like the A levels I were doing like notoriously quite difficult as well. Like A level maths is like an absolute mess.
absolutely.
Like I honestly, A level maths has been a lot harder than the content that I've been doing as a biochemistry student at university. So it just goes to show like how like hard it was, and had trying to do that on top of 2 admission tests for medicine. It was a lot of work, and I think I could have probably like I think I should have realized that like that I should have maybe adopted like a good study technique instead of just thinking like the more hours I put in, the more I'll know. And I sort of stuck with that. And it's only like since I've been coming to uni, because once you get to uni, like the amount of content is it just scales up to like an absurd amount. And you really do need to start thinking about like, okay, like I need to sort of start studying effectively and start like allocating time effectively, because not only do you have like your all these like lectures and all this other stuff that you need to do content wise, you also have coursework on the side. and then there's also other stuff that you need to do, like regarding your like career, and it's just a lot to balance. And I think I probably wish I adopted like a better study habit. um I've managed to, I think I managed to pick one up over the last like couple months without even realizing, because after joining like iGEM and doing the team
Yeah.
things, like I've still managed to keep up with all my content despite the fact that I've been allocating like a more absurd amount of time into doing a project, which has been distracting me from the time that I would have been at uni. So I think I've like sort of subconsciously managed to study more effectively, but I'm not sure.
Mm.
But I'd say that's like the main thing for me.
Would you say that you've been using more study techniques? Like, so for you, have you got exams at the end of this semester, or have you got like all coursework? Or is that what you mean effectively, or just like or just being on track with everything you need to learn and like from all the classes and stuff?
Yeah, so like a bit of both. So like, yeah, just trying to keep on like on track with all the course and everything on top of, because I was getting distracted like all the time with things that needed to be done in the project. So it was really
Yeah.
hard for me to keep up. So I've sort of like had to learn to study more effectively under pressure,
Mm.
rather than like actually adopt like a good study habit. But
Yeah.
that's one of the things I regret the most. I don't know, how is your like study like techniques? I know that you're quite knowledgeable about that. So
Mm.
do you have any advice for me?
Uh, Well, in terms of learning, or in terms of like organizing?
I'd say probably both, really, because
Okay.
I think like I've managed to adopt like a good way of organizing, but like study techniques, I think it's still quite like it still lacks for me.
Hmm.
I think like that's just
I feel
me.
like, yeah, I feel like, so, okay. Firstly, that's something I think I could do better, is studying more effectively in terms of taking an approach that will allow me to memorize things more efficiently. So, okay, for me, for this semester, right, I don't have any um, like actual exams where I have to memorize stuff and then like sit an exam. They've said, okay, this semester's coursework, because of like lockdown and everything.
Mm.
They changed all the modules. Like originally, one of my modules, we had to make like a promotional video for like a marketing campaign, but then they've made it all coursework, so I don't have to actually memorize anything. So that's saved a lot of my
Oh,
time.
really? Oh,
Yeah, because I just have coursework now for this semester, and that's due in
so
January. So
no
I
no lectures or any content or anything. It's
no
just
no
solely
no
a
no no
coursework.
no. It's all. I still have lectures, seminars, workshops that are going on. Um, but
Oh, I see.
they're
Yeah,
all
sorry,
based
sorry.
around they're all based around the coursework. So I have marketing lectures, and those lectures help us with the coursework because there's the content we need to cover in the coursework. So
Mm.
so we just cover. So instead of needing to cover everything in the exam, you basically have to cover it in the coursework. So I don't have to memorize stuff. So like last year when I had like exams and stuff, like ended like this kind of time, maybe it was like, okay, I was like, okay, I need to study effectively because I know, okay, that's going to help me with memorizing stuff more efficiently. So I was like, okay, um I need to think more actively in my revision. So
Mm.
like instead of just taking notes or just reading the textbook, because like what's the stat, like 10% of what you just read from a textbook you remember, or something like that.
Really? 10%?
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so I won't just read lecture notes or just watch the lecture. Like when I go to lectures online, obviously, it's just like take the notes on side, split screen, have Notion over on one side. You know, I'm a big advocate for. I just love the app. Basically, just everyone
Yeah.
just take
No,
on
no
take
shit is
notes on
good.
what. Yeah, take notes what on you want to take notes on for everyone, but it's just my app of choice. Take notes because you're going to memorize it better, and then if you've got like exams that you memorize stuff, just think in terms of how am I going to try and recall this information. So if I just read it, that's recollection. I'm remembering. Oh, I saw that, not that I remember it from picking it out of my brain. So like, okay, flashcards. On like, you can like write a question, then have the answer for yourself. Like one reason I like using Notion, and when it comes to the point where I do have exams again, where I have to memorize stuff, when I'm taking notes in class, I can go, okay, I can write a question in the toggle, and then under the toggle, I can write the answer. So then when I'm going over the notes,
Oh,
I can see that. It's for most people, I don't know I don't know what you use to take notes, but like OneNote is really simple because it's like it's all set out for you. You don't have to like think about how am I going to organize it, because Notion is really up to like us and how we want to organize everything. But that's why I feel like other apps are useful for people, but people that are willing to get into like the nerdy details of organizing stuff, it's pretty good. But um, anything else in terms of studying effectively? I think managing my time has helped, like being able to balance other things. But I think mainly for this semester is that me having like my modules in a way being based around coursework has been quite impactful for how much time I have for other stuff. Yeah, I think that's about it.
One of the things that I've noticed that I'm not doing this year that I did last year was, so like I'd go into the lecture in person and I'd make some quick notes. It was at first it was on pen and paper, and then I switched to doing it on my my laptop, like because it was basically like I could do, like write out the same things. It was just on the screen because I've got like the pen and everything.
Yeah,
So that, and then what I would do after that is that I would go back to like my dorm like that evening, or maybe like a couple evenings later, and I would, in some cases, I would rewatch the lecture, like
yeah,
pre-recorded, like it was recorded, and I'd rewatch it, and then I'd type up my notes,
yeah,
and that would be like a way of reconsolidating. But this year, all I have done is I've had the lecture on the left, and I've had the slides like that they send you, like
yeah,
for what they go through on the right, and I would just write on the slides like everything the lecturer was saying and like processing it then. And by doing that, I'm still able to remember like a lot of the lecture content, like
mm,
similar to what I was doing last year. But the only difference is that I'm saving myself like rewatching a lecture and typing up, which would take me like
yeah.
an hour or maybe even 2 hours
Mm.
like per lecture.
That's
So,
really smart, actually. Yeah,
and I
yeah,
think I was talking to someone at like King's about it, like and basically she was saying that she thinks that the best way to remember things and like to take lecture notes is actually writing on the slides,
mm,
because the lecture is like, well, normally the lecture would be going quite quickly because you luckily now, because things are online, you can just pause whenever, and it's like, oh, if you miss what the lecturer was saying, just like go back a couple of seconds and you can rehear it.
yeah,
But in the actual lecture, you can't do that because the lecture's not gonna, you can't just put your hand up and be like, can you repeat that? Like when
yeah,
there's like, like 400 500 other people in the lecture, it's just not really fair. But by writing on the slides, you sort of learn how to condense your notes, which makes things easier to remember because you've condensed it down. So you remember the same amount of information, but in a smaller quantity, if that makes sense.
yeah. I feel that's really good. Like, it's able to. It's like because you're in that time crunch of being in class. It's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I need to. So you have the notes of what the was on like the board or whatever, like what they're showing, and then you need to take like you're probably focusing on what they're saying, so you can like elaborate on what's on the slides. That's so like I was speaking to someone a while back, and they said they do the same thing. They take the notes on the slides, and
Mm-hmm.
so like what I've been doing so far is that so like either so I'll look at the slides maybe the night before, like take note like basically take notes on the slides, and then elaborate on those notes that I've taken when what the lecturer is saying. Because there's no way I'm going to take notes on the slides and what the lecturer is saying in like one lecture because there's just not enough time because they go through it quite quickly. Because yeah, so the reason so I've done the same thing as you is that I took notes on the slides during classes. I've done that last year. That's actually quite clever because you don't have to redo the whole thing because you're not repeating
Mm.
what they've already put there. So it's kind of being because like what's the point of just copying what's in front of you, I guess. So that's really maybe I'm going to start just adding
Oh,
to the slides because you got me thinking because like it's just being more effective in terms of the what we're doing in terms of like okay we've got limited amount of time. It's like think about what you're doing. Only reason
yeah.
I would I don't know I just like taking notes and stuff for in terms of like I know it helps me like just consolidate my information on understanding it. That's the why I still do it and probably will continue to do it. Is that just because it lets me process the information and because I'm actually reading it thoroughly. Because if I just read the lecture slide and then this is for me personally, if I read it, I probably won't understand it as much as I took notes on it because I'm actually like, okay, I'm writing it down on my computer. Okay, and I'm actually like processing the information. I don't know. Maybe that's just me trying to make it up, but I don't know. But that's just what I do.
No, it's fair enough. Like I mean,
Everyone's got
yeah, everyone's different, right?
yeah,
And some people, there's like the different types of learner as well. One of the things that I've realized about myself quite recently, actually, under this like immense pressure that I've been under to like learn things without having the time for it, is that I'm quite visual in the way I learn. I think that's the most common one. I can't remember. There's some other ones as well. There's
yeah,
like the visual and then like the auditory, maybe some other ones. But yeah, like I've realized that I pick up a lot of things visually. Like if I can like visualize. If I was to watch a lecture, I'd be able to more easily see the slides and the information on them more than I'd be able to like hear the lecturer's voice, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Like sometimes in a class, like they just said something and I forgot what it was. Like instantly gone up my head. So like it's kind of annoying. Because like you want to pay attention to what they're saying, so I can actually like make notes on it. Because like I couldn't just go to a class and then not make any notes, because I'm not going to memorize. I'm not going to remember anything. Like that's for me, and I probably, and a lot of people that probably resonate with that as well. Yeah.
But yeah, I know earlier you mentioned about organization as well, which is something that I've had to like take on a bit more of an extreme for, because of just how much that I've had to do
Yeah.
on top of like learning like all the content. So I've used a lot of OneNote to organize things, and that's like, it can be anything. If I just if someone says something to me and I don't want to forget it, I just put it on OneNote.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing I like about OneNote is that you have like loads of little tabs at the top. I don't know if like now would be a good time. Like if we're actually planning on doing the video, we could maybe show like a picture of the tabs at the top for me. But basically, what I do is I have like loads of different tabs at the top with like different topics. So just to give you some examples, I've got like a general one that's got like all like the sort of like the generic like to-do lists, and it can be something that's quite personal. It doesn't have to be uni related. Like for me,
Yeah.
you need to go shopping for this, and I'll just keep that on OneNote. And then like on
Yeah.
my tab, I've got like some university stuff. So like I've got that you can add like little check boxes on OneNote. And you can just sort of write in, and the good thing about OneNote as well is you can actually write on it with the pen. It's sort of, it works with it for the pen as well. So I can make a lot of written notes on there too, which I've done like
Yeah.
on some occasions, but a lot of the time I just write on the slides for lectures. But yeah, like you can organize things really well on there, I think. That's how I organize
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. It's kind of like having like to-do lists in a way, I think, or like or just like notes on the things that you're doing. Like so it's like having projects. So like in a way, I'd say uni is one project. My YouTube channel was another project. This extracurricular society stuff is another like couple of projects in a way. It's like there's something called the para method that I don't know if Tiago Forte, he's like, he might have came up with it, or I can't remember where it's from, but that's who I heard it from. Is this like, so you have projects, areas, resources, and archives, which is like a way of, it's one way to organize stuff. I don't use that exact method for organizing stuff, but it just thinking that in the back of my mind helps me think in terms of how I'm going to organize stuff. So like areas of your life might be like personal, university, passion projects, stuff like that, and then just like, okay, I have different projects, and then so like for me personally, like I have it in Notion, so I have all the different projects I'm working on. So like I favorite all the current like micro projects. So it might be like, so this like podcast episode is favorited, so I can say it's right at the top of my favorites bar, and then I'll have like also all like the bigger projects. So it'd be like YouTube videos, university notes, placement year, then all the modules, then like my like database with like the photography society committee that we work on stuff for photography and stuff like that. Oh yeah, I got them using Notion because
Again, trying to
yeah,
get Notion in, but I will agree. Because me and Alex use Notion to organize our podcast episodes as well.
yeah,
And I think it's really helpful, like because like there's different, you can have like your little tabs, and then each tab can be put into a category.
yeah,
I think that really helps you organize as well, which is something that OneNote can't actually do. You just have the tabs, but there's no, you can name the tabs, and you you can, but you can do the same on Notion, but you can't put them into specific categories unless I
yeah,
might have not looked into OneNote enough, which could be like true, but I don't know. Like I think in that sense that Notion actually wins over OneNote in that sense. But
yeah. I think it's all up to what you prefer. Like, like I used OneNote last year, and I liked it. I used it for my university notes last year, but I knew that Notion probably, because I had experience using Notion for about a year, probably by then, by the end of first year. So I was like, okay, I want to. So then this year I started using Notion for university notes, and it's just because I know it quite well. And once you just play around with it and start using it, you can do some really cool things. Like one reason I really like it is that I can make links between different things. So I have all my module pages, and then I have like notes on like some of like the coursework and stuff, and then I can link to those pages in the coursework pages. And so it's just like I can easily like connect things together, like without having to drag it from so many different files and everything. Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain, but yeah.
see, the major things that I've been like told at university. So there's I can't remember her name. I can maybe like I can have a look for. I'll be able to find her name, but I can maybe put it in the show notes once I've remembered. But she is a neuroscientist at King's and she lectures. And basically, she was saying to me that science changes all the time, and the stuff that I'm learning now in 10 years it could be completely different, or they might have realized something was wrong, or they might have added to something that I've learned. And so what she was saying is that you should focus more on like gaining like the skills of university. And if you get what I'm saying, like instead of like learning the content, like just like obtain the skills
Like
that
the
you need.
approach to like the fundamentals in a way, I guess is what you mean, or like
Yeah,
the
so like, and yeah, one of the main things that she highlighted is that you should try and draw links between the modules. So just to give an example, like, so in my genetics module, I've been learning about like class switching. I don't want to get too scientific, but it's basically how your B cells make antibodies. Like, you know what antibodies are, right? Yeah.
yeah
Science. Yeah.
yeah
Um, and basically like and then I can basically link that knowledge into my immunology module. And by drawing those links together, apparently that is like the most effective way of like learning like the sciences.
yeah
Apparently, like instead
okay
of like learning the science like in depth, it's more about drawing links between each and like seeing how all of it connects together, which is
yeah
honestly I've been doing a lot more of it, and it's sort of helped me remember a lot more, I think I've noticed. So
yeah
that's the advice that I'd give in that sense, like for what you were
yeah
saying.
yeah
um
because it's kind of like how our brain works, because we make links to all these different things um that we have in our life. Like, it's not like your computer, things are all organized in certain categories, but in reality it's all like a big web linking to each other. And like there's this one note-taking tool called Rome Research, which is based over this thing of like having like different bubbles and linking all these things together, so you can see like a massive mind map of all the links between different notes. I don't personally use it a lot. I used it when it was in beta. I might try using it again, but I don't know. For me, I just don't like the organizational structure. But they call it bidirectional linking, so it's just linking automatically to different things, and just see how the different things in our lives all link together. Like something in your personal life could easily link to something completely on the other side of your life, or whether it's like it's just yeah. I think it's just like it's trying to get, I think, how our brain works in terms of linking things into like a digital tool.
Yeah, I think that's maybe a good reason for me to start using Notion then a bit more. So I can start making links between my modules, which would probably be quite a good idea. I mean, yeah, like Notion is like a really good organizing tool, and I think it's really important to stress how important organization is at uni. I mean, I've definitely
Yeah,
realized there's something that I got from the Habathon, which is sort of like something that's going on that I think they're like a podcast series that's like similar to us, but they're
yeah.
like solely based on habits. So,
Oh wow.
I mean, that what we can cover in this episode like is probably quite limited on like sort of the amount of habits that there actually are, because everyone's habits are going to be different.
Yeah,
So I would definitely recommend going and checking them out. We'll leave a link to that in the show notes. But
yeah.
they basically highlighted something to me when I was reading through them called Parkinson's law,
Oh yeah.
which is, I don't know, have you heard of that, Alex?
Yeah, I've heard of it before.
Which is work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion, which is
Yeah,
quite a wordy, I think, sounds quite old, like quite old, and I don't know.
yeah,
You know, yeah. But
yeah.
basically, what it means is, I used to do this a lot. So it's like, let's say today I can't be bothered to do any work, and then it's like, okay, don't worry, tomorrow I can study all day and spend all day studying. Realistically, I like in my mind, I'm like, okay, that's like what, 8 hours of studying, and realistically, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
I'll probably end up doing maybe 3 or 4
yeah,
if I'm like actually committed, and you know, taking into consideration like the breaks and everything else that you'll take naturally without even realizing, like including your phone and, you know, getting food or just grabbing a snack, or you know, maybe a family member will ring your phone, or you know, it could be anything.
yeah,
So I think that's like definitely something that sort of I've taken like on board to consider, because
yeah,
I used to do that a lot, like a ridiculous amount.
yeah. I think so. I've heard of Parkinson's law before, and I think it's a really good approach to think in terms of like stuff that we're doing. is that we think, okay, so like for example, last night I finished editing like the first version of the short film that I've been working on, and so I could have said to myself, okay, it's due Monday, I have to send it in. Okay, oh, I've got all weekend to do it. I'll finish it over this weekend. But I said to myself, you know what? I'm gonna finish and export it tonight, Friday night. I said, okay, I'm gonna finish it tonight. And it was about, I don't know, maybe 12 o'clock, something like that. I finished editing it. I exported it. It was done. It's because I gave myself that time crunch, that limit. I said, okay, I'm gonna finish it in this time. That's following. It's kind of following Parkinson's law. Is that work expands to fill the time we allocate to it. Like countless times I made videos, and it's like if I set myself a deadline, okay, I have to get it out on a certain day. I'm going to get it done quicker compared to if I said, oh, I can just put it out whenever I want to put it out. It's like when we have a coursework deadline, when we have a deadline for an exam, we always get more done in those last couple of days, that last week, compared to all that time before, because we're like, okay, damn, I really need to get this freaking done now because that deadline is there.
Yeah, I think some people just work quite well under the pressure. I'm definitely one of those people that, I don't know if it's because like I just haven't really given myself the opportunity to work under the like strict deadline pressures, because I'm usually, so I do this thing where I basically set myself a deadline before the actual due date.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's sort of like, it definitely links into like being organized, because it's like, if so just say like, because one of my major essays this year is with cell biology, and I have to do like a critical review. It's about like 1,500 words, so it's not too long, but it requires a lot of research. And I basically was like, because like this, I'm still doing the projects at this time, so I was like, I'm gonna try and get this thing finished like way before the deadline, which is actually in 2 days. And normally, like people in my position now would be like, oh God, I got to get this thing finished. But I'm able to sit here now, record this episode and maybe, go and have like a nice lunch today and not have to worry about the deadline, because my deadline was a week ago, and I got it done like a while ago. And in that way, like, so say if like I realized today, like, oh no, wait, I forgot to put this in my essay, I've still got another, 2 days, 3 days to do that. So in that way, like by setting yourself your own deadlines, and you can sort of adapt your schedule to deadlines instead.
Yeah.
Instead of like letting university dictate when stuff's due, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Because I feel like for me personally, like some coursework deadlines I have, I feel like they're giving us way too long to get it done. Like they could have given us half the amount of time and everyone would have still got it in time. And the chances are majority of people don't start till 1 week before anyway.
People don't get it done until like the weekend before. I don't understand, Alex.
Yeah. Like I set myself, I've got like on my calendar, I have like for each coursework deadline, well, I think either like 1 or 2 weeks before, I have like my own kind of deadline way that I want it to finish it. So kind of following the same thing. Is that because like, especially with coursework, is that if you cram it all really quickly, it's not going to be as good as it could if you've done it over a long period of time. Because like it's like one of my lecturers was saying it, I think it was like 2 days ago or something, is that you don't have that objectivity to like critically analyze your work because you're just getting it done and then submitting it.
Yeah, so you're not giving yourself a chance to I think, yeah, it's just about like making a draft, isn't it? Because the first draft is not going to be as good as the fifth draft or the sixth draft.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's always good to like giving yourself like an early deadline for yourself. And even if you don't reach that deadline, you've still got like an extra week. If that was the actual deadline, you don't have an extra week. You've got to submit it. You know?
Exactly. Like, I know this university. It's what's it called? Minerva or something like that. And they have like coursework every single week, and they have like what's the term? Assignments where they have to write like essays. I don't know how long they would be or how often they are exactly, but from what I've seen online from like people that like creators or influencers is they have assignments all the time, and because you've got that deadline to get it done, it's going to be done. But like a lot of universities, including like where we are probably, is that they give us a really long period of time to get an assignment done. So if they give us a short period of time, it would be done anyway, because like it's just the way the majority of us work.
I think it would be interesting to get on a like an English or maybe a law student, because I know that they basically have to write essays like on a weekly basis.
Oh wow, really? Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that's towards coursework or if it's just like practice for exams, or I think it'd be interesting to see how they go about doing their preparing and like organizing their work, because their deadlines seem a lot more frequent
Yeah.
than like mine and yours. So maybe that would be something
Mhm.
interesting that we could
Yeah.
maybe discuss. But yeah, I think definitely getting into the habit of organizing
Yeah.
is really, it's like I don't think I can stress it enough. It's been so helpful for me like this semester anyway.
Mm.
It's probably been the same for you, because I mean you've taken on a lot like with your society stuff, and try and keep up a YouTube channel. So I mean, yeah, like if Alex is a content creator and manages to spend an hour and a half on his phone every every like every day, you have no excuse. Like, you have absolutely no excuse to to like spend that long on your phone. So, but yeah, like that's definitely impressive, Alex, on your sense. So I
Oh,
think
cheers.
so. I think maybe we should move on to some more maybe some more like generic points as well. So, or
Yeah.
maybe some more like personal points as well, actually, because like I think people always like suffer with their own thing. Like everyone has like a stress relief mechanism, and sometimes that can be quite self-detrimental. So
Yeah.
like some people, a lot of students that I know smoke, um, like to in order just to get like a short-term relief from the stress of their work, which obviously it can be good in the short term, but in the long term,
Yeah.
it's not going to do you any favors. I mean, yeah, because I mean, like, there's so many studies. I mean, I've been doing like loads of like science like throughout my life, and
Yeah.
every single person I've like in my lectures and everything, it's always said like smoking is never ever good. Like, there's no.
Yeah. There's so much science to back it up. So in terms of like just to, so like something that I found helpful was that, so in terms of like building good habits, um, it's all for me. I've seen if I've tried to build a habit and I tried to go too full onto it, like tried to do it really frequently for like a long period of time, like on a set day, it's just fallen off. It's just like not worked out after. But what I realized is that after reading what was it, Atomic Habits by James Clear, is
Mhm.
that you should start with by creating the habits as small and as easy as possible, because that will allow you to get that consistency, and then over time you can increase the duration and intensity of the habit. So like for me, some habits I've been trying to build recently is I've been trying to get my meditation habit more frequent. So
Mhm.
like I have a habit tracker right on my wall, my
Oh, cool.
wardrobe. Sorry.
Could you maybe
Yeah.
show that, or?
Yeah. Just one sec. Let me just grab it. Yeah. So all the X's here are the things that I've crossed off. So you can
Mhm.
see I have exercise, meditate, study, coursework, content slash brand, 30 minutes outside, read, and placement search. So
Wow,
as you can
that's
see,
a lot.
not everything is crossed off, and like so like exercise, well, I had 2 days, didn't do anything. 3 days consistency, way too long without anything. Then yes, no, no, yes, yes. So it's like not all the time, which and I want to be able to get that flow where I'm getting things more consistent. But like for me, for example, for like exercises, like okay, on my calendar every day I have a 2 o'clock schedule of I'm going to go outside in my garden. I'm going to play basketball for 2 minutes, at least 2 minutes. That's it. I can go
Two
outside.
minutes.
That's it. I say on my calendar it says 2 minutes, and in the description I have. In reality, it's not going to be 2 minutes because what's the point of that? But the point is that I'm getting rid of the friction. There's no expectation. All the expectation is I'm going to go out for 2 minutes and play basketball. And every day, I haven't done it every day, but each time I go out, I go, okay, I'm just going to go for 2 minutes. I know deep inside that I'm going to probably be there for 15 minutes, half an hour, which is usually what happens. But the whole point is just get out of the door, go into my garden and start playing basketball. Or like it could be simple. Okay, I'm just going to do 2 push-ups. I'm just gonna get started, and then it's so much because once we get started, it's so much easier to continue. Yeah, like for meditating, I've seen every day that I've meditated is usually when I've woken up earlier, and the days I haven't meditated is when I've woken up later. So it's kind of like use like something else that James Clear talked about is attach habits to things you already do, and that would make it much because you already do one thing, you just attach it to something else. Say you start to build up the exercise habit, you can say okay, after the exercise, I will meditate for 2 minutes. It's just attaching it to something else. And he has this, I have it on my wall as well, is that he has a PDF called like How to Create a Good Habit and
Mm-hmm.
Ways to Break Bad Habits. It's like a summary of all the things he talked about in his book. We'll put in the show notes, we'll link the free PDF later on his
Yes, yes,
website.
definitely.
Yeah, and it's just like some different approaches you can think of when trying to build habits. Yeah, because like we can can complain and say, "Oh, I'm not done this. I haven't got this good habit. I haven't got this bad habit. I've got this bad habit, or whatever." You can just be like, "Okay, let me think. What's the reason behind this, and what can I do to try and improve it?" And there's no point of dwelling on it because there's something we can do. Like, we're in control of our actions at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we can prime the environment. We can change the environment. Sorry, to so like if there's something that cues a habit, get rid of that cue so it doesn't trigger the habit. Depending on what it is. Like, if you want something to cue a good habit, you want that there. If you've got a bad habit, get rid of that thing that cues that habit, that triggers that habit. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you say to yourself, like, I'm going to go outside and play basketball for 2 minutes, because it's, in a way, it's sort of like just tricking yourself into thinking that you're just going to go outside for 2 minutes. Like, that's great. I can, I don't know if is it more of like trying to avoid like the exercise aspect, or is it more like trying to save time for other things during the day, like with the basketball for you?
So for me, for the basketball, it's that I want to exercise because I want to be healthier, get into better shape, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But I've just been too maybe lacking the self-discipline to do it. So like for me, basketball is something that I enjoy. So it's like it's kind of tricking myself into doing it. So like what I'm thinking is, okay, if I start getting up to basketball consistency, that'd be awesome. I want that to happen. And then I can be like, okay, now I'm going to make the focus on something else as well. Let me say, okay, I'm just going to, I don't know, I've got like these like weights in my room, for example. Let me say, okay, I'm going to do that for 2 minutes and start get that consistency of like once every 2 days or something. Also, something I have on here is follow the 2-day rule, which is something that I found about the 2-day rule. So there's something I haven't been following, and it's something I want to think about actually doing. But essentially, I heard about it from Matt D'Avella. He's an awesome filmmaker / YouTuber. Yeah, check him out. Essentially, this is like, okay, I cannot do a certain habit such as exercising on one day, but I can't break it for 2 days. So it's like, okay, I can take off multiple days in a week, for example, but I can't take 2 days off consistently. And that's something I haven't been following. And yeah, but it's an approach that I might start taking.
I think that would be a good approach for me as well, actually, because one of the main like demotivators for me for exercising is that I feel like I just don't have the time, because of like the course that I'm doing and everything else. I think the major distraction for me from doing exercise is the fact that if I do exercise, I'm taking an hour, 2 hours out of potential time that I could be studying and getting work done, which is quite bad, because exercise is good, and I think that's one of the major demotivators for me.
I feel like you could do it for, if you say, instead of saying 1 or 2 hours, like do it for like a really short period of time.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've noticed as well is trying to jump into a new habit from nothing is a lot harder than building up gradually. So maybe if I just say to myself, I'm going to do 10 minutes of exercise today, and then that 10 minutes will become consistent, and then after that's become a lot more consistent, okay, I'm going to switch it to 20 minutes, and then that will become a bit more consistent, and then just keep that cycle going until I'm back up to an hour, and then it just becomes normal for me. And then naturally, the time that I needed to spend like that hour like doing work, I'll end up like all my schedule will start shifting around gradually without me even realizing. And I'll notice that even though I'm doing an hour of exercise that I wanted to do like to begin with, it's not having an impact on the amount of time that I'm spending studying, just because like these little things are shifting around.
Yeah, it's like I remember watching this video, and it was showing like there was 2 sample sets, and there was one that didn't exercise before an exam, and one that did exercise before an exam. Sorry, one that did exercise or like went for a half an hour walk before exam. Ones that did and ones that didn't, and the ones that did ended up getting like higher results or something. And it's like it always shows people that have like, so say there's two people, and they both study the same effectiveness, the same amount of time or whatever. The person that also exercises frequently will more likely get a higher grade compared to the person that didn't, because of all like the other benefits and stuff like that.
Wow, yeah, that's actually really interesting. So yeah, it's more the reasons to exercise, I think.
Yeah.
I wish that was something that I realized a while ago, like when I was doing my A levels, like, because I was saying to you, like literally most of my days were just like studying.
Yeah.
And I think luckily the safe haven for me was like the hour, 2 hours I spent a week doing judo every week. And I think that was the only thing that like enabled me to keep going, because otherwise I think I would have just like collapsed, and I have collapsed before. We've spoken about this in like other episodes. I don't want to bring it back up because it's like just it'll just dim the mood. But yeah, so I can't. Yeah, stressing the importance of exercise. I don't know. I remember you saw. But we've posted on our Instagram. If you don't follow our Instagram, please do, because that's like our main point of communication on like before the podcast, obviously. But I made like a little mental health, mental health post, which seemed to do quite well. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. For the people that have seen it, if you haven't, then I would recommend going and checking it out, because it's got a lot of like useful information on there, I think, anyway. So here it is. It's just there. You can have a little flick through and see what you think.
And for the people that are just listening to the audio version of this podcast, there links in the description, obviously, because Luke just showed it on the screen. But yeah, okay.
God, I forgot about that. Some more personal points for improvement. And this is like a big one for me with habits. I think, well, I don't know if this is even a habit. I think this is just like some more general life advice. But I think that just being more confident can get you so far. And it's ridiculous. I think like the out of all my like the people that I know, the ones that are a lot more confident in themselves and what they do are the ones that sort of have more opportunity, and the ones that are like actually, you know, getting things done and doing like productive things. So, and I think it just opens up a lot of opportunity for you, especially with like networking, because, you know, if you go out like to these like big events and start talking to people that you don't know, if you go up and you're not confident, like it's not really good. Like I don't know how to explain. I don't know if you've had the same experience, Alex, but when I like, because I'm not really that confident, like my public speaking is awful. Like there's a lot of things that I could do to improve on that aspect, but I just pretend that I'm a lot more confident than I am, and it really helps me when I'm networking with people. But yeah, it's just like I just sort of force myself out of my comfort zone for like just like a couple of hours. Like it's nothing, and I just pretend that I'm like this really confident, like buzzy guy, and I'm really not. But it really helps when you're trying to talk to new people, because a lot of the people that you talk to, a lot of them are going to be really shy. Like I think I'm going to say like there's probably like what, like a 70-30%, like 30% of people are confident and the other 70 are quite shy, and
probably something like that.
I don't know if you change that, but I've noticed that it makes the conversation a lot easier if you're the one that's like sort of leads it, and you're the one that's being confident. Because if you bump into those, let's just say like this is a theoretical number that I've just made up, 70% of people that you talk to, like it just makes it a lot easier, because then you're sort of increasing your like your range of people that you can talk to from 30% to what, probably 100 nearly, if you're like just act more confident. So I think it's good to get into the habit of just being a bit more. I don't know if it's how confidence is a habit, or just maybe
more of a mindset in a way, like an approach mindset.
Yeah, or maybe just getting yourself out of like the I don't know, like the habit of thinking that, I don't know how to put this into words, but
it's just like you said, like pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, because it probably brings some benefits. Like, okay, so speaking to new people, it's like, so you don't have, say someone says they don't have the confidence to do it. It's like confidence in a way is just faked. Like you can just like pretend to be confident, and if you pretend to be confident, the chances are you'll actually become confident over time, I reckon. So like for me, for example, when meeting new people, if I ever realize I'm feeling nervous to talk to someone, all I would do is in my head I'll just say 3, 2, 1, and just walk over to someone and start talking. Like I'm just tricking my brain again into doing something that I might
just scamming yourself, Alex. Like that, you're like that text message I got the other day about HSBC. No, I'm kidding. But that's really interesting though.
Yeah, because I feel like, I don't know if I'm confident or not confident or whatever. I feel like the chances are it was something that confidence will increase more over time, hopefully. Because I feel like all the different things, I reckon improving different areas of life will all contribute to our confidence. Like if I exercise more, want to get into better shape, be more healthier, and probably my confidence will increase. It's more likely, like because you look better, you feel better, etc. And like the more you speak to other people, the more confident you'll get with speaking to other people.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like the more networking you do, the more you would understand it. The more that you've done it, the better you'll get at it.
I think one of the things that's really helped me
just take your shot in a way. Just like take your shot, take the risk. Like there's talking to someone's not going to really have any like drawbacks in a way, really. So
yeah, I mean, what you accidentally say the wrong thing and you've lost like one person out of what 8 billion that you could be friends
exactly.
with. It's not too big a deal. One of
Yeah.
the things that I've noticed that's helped me a lot is actually doing this podcast. I don't know if it's been the same for you, Alex, but I find it a lot easier to maintain conversation with people I don't know, and I find it a lot easier just to talk, because before, like when I was having a conversation, it's still quite the same with some people that I talk to because it's just the way that I'm comfortable with. But like in a conversation, you've always got like the speaker and the listener, and someone always like dominates with one or the other. Like someone's always like a really good listener, or someone's like a really good speaker, and they have like loads of really cool stories. But I found myself like in a lot more conversations, I'm able to be that speaker and be that person that's able to, you know, like actually keep the conversation, like be like the main subject of the conversation.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how to really put this into words, but yeah, I don't know, you're more of a listener or a speaker, Alex. What do you think?
I think I'm being on the side of more of a speaker. It's like, so like for I guess the podcast, I think the podcast has helped in a way, which is
Subconsciously, haven't realized.
I think I think I'm really happy about that as well. It's like, for example, in my seminar groups, like I'm always the person that starts the conversation, turns on the microphone when we're like on like Blackboard, which is like basically like Zoom, like video call, and like I'm always the first person to talk. Like I'm the leader of the group and like helping delegate what tasks everyone doing for the project, for like our marketing project. So it's like I feel like I've like something I heard is be the leader, and you like if you're the leader, you're more confident, and it's just better to be the leader of stuff. Like be someone that organizes stuff, be the person. And I feel like that. I think the podcast probably helped me with that, because I'm not scared to go into the conversation. Like if one of the lecturers go, do you want to turn on your microphone and ask a question? I'm 100% fine with doing that. Like I'm completely fine with that. Like one thing that annoys me is that in online classes for me at UEA, people don't turn their cameras on, and that annoys me because I feel like lectures would be so much more engaging if everyone turned their cameras on. But like on the platform we use, it will only show 3 people, and everyone else won't be able to see. You won't be able to see them. So like on Zoom, you can see everyone, but just on the platform they use, you can't see everyone. The lecturer turns their camera on, but then no one else does, because you'd only be able to see 2 people plus the lecturer, and because of that, no one turns the cameras on. And that means I feel like if everyone was able to, if everyone did, sometimes they disable it. So like in the thing that I do is something called Student Enterprise, is where we have like these people from the Student Enterprise Center, and they talk about business and building businesses and startups and stuff. And majority of people in there turn their cameras on. I turn my camera on, other people turn their cameras on, and it's just so much more engaging. There's so much more back and forth, and it's just because you're actually seeing them. It's like when you compare online lectures to when we could have live ones last year, is that live ones and some in-person seminars are so much more engaging because we can actually we're in person with people. So like if we can just like take the opportunity to actually turn the camera on and talk to a person, it's always more engaging. Like if us talking right now, right? If we were just over microphone and we didn't have the cameras on, it would be completely different, and this episode would come out completely different if we didn't have the cameras on, because we can actually see each other.
That's actually a pretty good like experiment you could maybe do, like a psychological experiment, like if students learn better with cameras on or off. That'd be something I'm interested in seeing. So any psychologist students watching, please start a study. I'd be more than happy to help out with that. I think I definitely agree. I think maybe they should make it like a compulsory thing to turn cameras on. I know that there's like a privacy issue, so like you can't force someone to turn their camera on.
Yeah.
But don't you think it would be like if you've showed up to somewhere, like because if you go to a lecture in person, or like just say like you're in a workshop, you go to the workshop in person, they're going to see your face and what you're wearing and what you look like.
Yeah.
If you attend an online workshop, surely there should be the same expectations. Like, you know, if you've shown up to that workshop, you've like in a way you've given consent to show like your face in that situation. But I don't know.
I feel like with the whole data privacy stuff, I guess you can encourage people, please turn on your camera so we can engage better. I guess you can't force them, because and I feel like turning on the camera and when you're speaking to someone, and like with the online classes and whatever, I think that helps with confidence as well. You're more comfortable like with who you are, what you look like, and speaking to the other person. And it's just like another thing, even if you find it a bit uncomfortable, it's just pushing yourself out of that comfort zone again.
Definitely. And what you're saying earlier about like you being the one that leads the group, majority of the time, like if you're in a group and no one is confident enough to start leading. Like, is in most group work, someone's got to start leading. Like, it just happens naturally, right? So if no one is like willing to do it, it just makes it really awkward for everyone, because everyone's like really like nervous. They're like, I don't want to be here because no one's talking. But what you don't realize is that you're not helping yourself by not talking either. You know, it's like you're just joining the rest of
Yeah.
the crowd. And I think that even if you're not comfortable being that confident person in the group, if you just like actually start taking the lead and start talking to people, you'll start making everyone else feel a lot more comfortable, and you'll start realizing that you've gone from being like the center of attention by actually being the first one to talk and start leading, to being just a person in a group of people that are all comfortable talking again. So I think it's definitely like a good idea to be like that person that starts the conversation. If you're in a workshop or something that's a bit awkward because no one's talking, you know. There's two like major points that I just want to say, like on a personal thing. So this is like my two main points. So I think this is more life advice again, and more than like a habit, but don't like force yourself to do something that you don't want to do. I know in some scenarios, like as we were saying, being confident in a situation where you don't really want to be, that's a bit different, because it's like a bit more short term. But you know, I think it's like in the long term, like don't just do something that you don't want to do because someone else has told you to do it, or you know, even if you think it will do you any like some good, like you really need to consider like the positives and negatives of it. So I'll just give you like an example. So like my summer placement like in California got cancelled, and I was thinking like I've got to replace this with something, like really stressing myself out about it. Like I need to find some experience. So I was looking online at all these like online internships. Reading through them, I was just thinking to myself like, I don't want to do any of these. Like even though it's really good for my career because it's like an internship and whatnot, I was just
Yeah.
looking at it and I was like, I don't think this will be enjoyable for me.
Mm.
Like even though it would have done me like probably like a really good, because it's, you know, a good internship, like I just wouldn't have enjoyed it. And I think that it's really important to like say to yourself, like if you really don't want to do something, then like I don't know if this is like a bad like mindset for me, but it's just the way that I've started thinking recently. But if you don't want to do something that you're not going to enjoy, like there's no reason for you to do it unless you like really like start considering the positives of once you finish whatever you're like starting to do.
Yeah. But I feel like if you're going to do something like that, it should be something that you enjoy and that has the positive benefits. Like, what's the point of doing something you don't enjoy at the end of the day? It's like, why work a job that you don't enjoy just to reap the rewards of, I don't know, the certain level of money that it makes? Like, you might as well find something
Yeah.
find something that you enjoy, because especially if it takes something that takes up a lot of time, because if you do something you don't enjoy, it's really going to decrease our overall happiness. So it makes sense, like 100% go towards the thing that we enjoy more.
I don't know whether like whether you should base like the things that you do on the rewards of it, or if you actually enjoy it, because like there's like a lot of, I don't know what like the actual percentage is, but I'm sure it's probably quite high, but the majority of students that go into degrees and not finishing them and end up dropping out, or you know, like I feel like them students in that position, if you're doing a degree that you don't enjoy, like how do you balance like, oh, I've paid for this, and you know, if I finish this I'll get a cool degree, which is really good, but you know, you're not enjoying what you're doing. So like the next, what, like maybe 1 or 2 years of your life is just not going to be, you're not going to be working towards something you enjoy. So how do you balance, you know, how do you balance that? It's kind of a weird situation, I think, to be in.
Yeah. I feel like if someone learns a degree they didn't enjoy, I think we'd have to think, okay, what is the reason I done this in the first place? Like there has to be a greater meaning of why someone would do a certain degree, a degree, because the chances are either they want to go to university and then they want to work a job and they know like, okay, this degree will help me in a way. But usually a degree should, I think it should help the job that you want to get. So like if someone does law, right, you need that to become a lawyer. Like there's really no other way. If you want to go into like your field, you need to get a degree in science. Like it's the same kind of thing. Like for me as well, like for business and stuff, like I'm learning the fundamentals of business. So like I'm learning when doing my own thing, but I'm also like, it will help with like getting a job. And in a way, I think a lot of people do it because of the security it gives. Like it's more like that comes with a degree as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if I have a degree, like I'm gonna get a good job, sort of stigma, I guess maybe.
Yeah. It's
But
like,
it's interesting you bring up lawyers though, because I've heard that a lot of London law firms, they actually take 50% law students, like that have law degrees, and the other 50% of people that haven't done law degrees. And it's because they don't want lawyers that all have the same background and have learned the same things. They want people from some different backgrounds that will have like more abstract ways of thinking, so that they're lawyers that cover like a wider range of. I'm not sure like exactly how law works. I'm very, very inexperienced in that field, to say the least. But yeah, it's just a bit interesting that they actually don't just look for law
yeah.
students, like they look for people with other backgrounds, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, because they have like a conversion course for law. So like you might have done a different degree, and then someone can do a different, like a 1 year course, and then it would be equivalent of like a law degree or something like that.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know how it works. I'll have to look a bit more into that. Maybe we can discuss it in another episode with like a law student, like we said before, about the studying like tips and stuff. So that could be something interesting that we could talk about. But and
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
the one like other major point is like habits with. I don't even, this is a sort of a deep philosophical question, but what is the difference between a habit and an addiction?
Ooh.
Ooh.
So I say, well, a habit could either be a good habit or a bad habit, firstly, and an addiction is usually a bad habit, right? And that's like when you probably have lost a lot of your self-discipline or self-control in doing that thing. It's like I feel like I'm not quite sure about the science or the certain definition of what it's called.
Should we
but
Google?
Because wouldn't an addiction be something that someone does without really thinking about it? Is that the right definition?
Let's have a look. So that sounds pretty good though. So what addiction is something that you can't. It's a lot harder to control, basically. So habit, addiction definition. So it's the fact or condition of being addicted to a particular substance or activity. Okay, and then a habit is a setted or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. Addiction is a brain disorder. Okay, that's might be the distinctive difference between a habit and an addiction.
So what is the line that crosses a habit to an addiction?
I would say that a habit is probably like the more. I think it's like the less extreme version of an addiction. I'd say, because I think an addiction is something that's like it's like an extreme habit, really, isn't it? It's like something that you get to the point of where like your brain has sort of hardwired yourself into thinking that whatever that thing that you're doing is like good. It's like what you have to do. It's like something you can't really control. It's like like an addiction. But a habit, on the other hand, is something that you can sort of control a bit better. I'd say. I think it's hard to draw like a boundary between it. It's a very like, I think it's a very like faded thin line that's very difficult to distinguish.
Yeah. So like every day, we brush our teeth, right? That's something that just by nature happens. So would someone this is a question, is someone that is addicted to something, would that just be their nature of thinking that is normal by the time they hit that point of it?
Yeah,
I'm not sure about this, but
maybe we can have a look into that, because let's just think. So getting into the habit of brushing your teeth and being addicted to brushing your teeth. Let's think about that. So I just been addicted to brushing your teeth. So yeah, I'd say, yeah, think about it. If you just picture in your mind someone that's like got a habit of brushing their teeth, you think like, yeah, like, you know, that's a good habit to get into. Like they brush their teeth probably every day. Their teeth are probably quite white. But if you think of someone who's addicted to brushing their teeth, you probably think of them a bit of a loony, like, you know, and maybe like start, maybe that's what the difference is. So an addiction is when a habit becomes harmful.
Yes.
Maybe?
Yeah, probably. I reckon so.
Do you think? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because you don't call something like brushing your teeth an addiction because it only does positive benefits. So
yeah, maybe
unless you've done it like way too often, but yeah, I'm not going to get into
that. Yeah, so maybe that's what the distinction is. So I'd say then like, so maybe like gaming addictions, because that's the thing I wanted to bring up like a while ago. So like I've definitely noticed, like, since coming into lockdown, like the amount of time that I spent playing video games has
Yeah,
gone up quite a bit, and I think that's
yeah,
just because of like a lack of options and a lack of entertainment from being able to go and see friends, which is what I would normally do. So I think, yeah, I think it's definitely a big problem. Like, it's definitely a very common thing, and I think it's probably a lot more common in children than it used to be because of like the ease of access to get like technology, like from, you know, like parents will just give like their children like any sort of technology, and it's so easy
yeah,
to get absorbed in because, like, as you were saying earlier about like, it's just like that constant dopamine release that you get from the
yeah.
screen. So I think that's another thing. Like, if you have like a bad habit with like playing video games or any other sort of like thing that you just realize is getting a bit too much, because let's just be real, like, playing video games doesn't have many benefits. I think like maybe it might improve your reaction time. There's probably like a lot of studies about this.
It's
um
fun as well. Like,
yeah,
gotta
like
say, it's fun.
that's like a good thing. It's good fun,
Yeah,
but if you think of it in the long term, like if you think of someone who plays video games like a lot, you don't think of someone who's going to be very productive.
yeah, yeah. So like, I feel like
um
it's all about that. It's all about that balance. And like, so
mm,
again, on terms of like priming the environment, it's that I won't buy the 12 months PlayStation Plus subscription. I won't, because I know I'll play much more often if I did buy it.
that's
So like,
true, yeah.
I've this maybe this whole year I bought 2 1 month subscriptions, and I think I know I usually buy it over the Christmas period, um, when I'm over on holiday or the holidays, either the summer, Christmas, usually. So like maybe a couple of some months, and that's usually when I play a bit more. Like the start of lockdown, I played quite a bit in the first 2 weeks. I haven't played a lot really in these last couple of weeks. Um, it's just like, don't always buy the new game, and you probably won't play as much. And it's all about just like,
Mm.
yeah, just creating the environment that you want to have in terms of your goals. Like the biggest thing when it comes to goals is creating the habits that will allow you to progress on them. Like, say you have this North Star, you have this goal, create habits that you can do frequently that will help you progress on towards it.
Yeah, so one of the things, that's a really good point actually. So like limiting the amount that you play by limiting your PlayStation Plus, which is actually a pretty good way of stopping yourself from playing PlayStation, I guess.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I think one of the other things that I would definitely recommend is, if you're realizing that you're playing games too much, is only play when your friends are playing, like,
mm,
and don't just play on your own, because when you start playing on your own, that's when it starts, like, your time or your free time will probably start going into it because it's like easy dopamine for you.
yeah,
um and then if you also have friends that are quite similar and you're playing with these friends like every day, and they're just like as addicted to the game as you, maybe consider like new friends. I don't, obviously that sounds bad, or maybe try and, like, if you just maybe say to your group, like, guys, like, I've noticed I've got a bit of a problem, and you guys might have the same thing, so maybe we can, communicate here and say, like, let's
yeah,
limit the times that we play together.
yeah.
um so
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
absolutely. Like, it's, I completely believe in what you mean. Is to hear that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time around. That's like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
shown.
true.
It's backed up. Like, if you're spending all the time with people that spend 99% of their time playing video games, the chances are you would end up being someone that is pretty similar, and maybe
Yeah,
not
just
that
playing.
productive. Yeah. Like, also, like, put the console away when you're not playing it. That's something that works for me. Like, I unplug it, put it back up over there. So like, it's over there
Outside
on,
our minds.
and
Mhm.
it's not on my desk. That means I can't easily just grab the controller or turn it on. So like, the plug is probably in my drawer away. So each time I want to get it, I have to get the plug out, plug it in, plug it into PlayStation. It's creating more friction. It means like, it's like being intentional with it. So like, if I want to play video games, I think, okay, you know what? It's the evening, had a pretty good day. You know what? Maybe I'll play a bit of video games now. So then I'll get it, put it in. Then when I finish, I'll put it away. It's like,
It's like a good motivator for you as well to like study throughout the day. Like, give yourself a set time, like, get my work done here, and if I get it done, you can play games tonight. And it's like a
yeah,
good like way for you to stay motivated to your studies, as well as, give yourself that reward
yeah.
of being like, yeah, I did all my work today, so now I'm
I
gonna
really like,
have some
yeah, I
time
really
with
like
boys.
your, yeah, I really like your only play with friends thing as well. I think that's really good because like, one, it's you're also spending time like with friends, like speaking to them more.
Social thing as well, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, it's not, yeah, one, you're enjoying it. It's a fun thing playing video games. Plus, yeah, it's like a social thing. So yeah,
So yeah, avoid single player games as fun as they are, because I used to play a load
mm,
when I was like, Skyrim was a big one for me when I was younger, but Yeah, so multiplayer, just play with friends
Yeah,
when you can, or maybe
yeah,
if you want to play a single player game, just call your friends while you're playing it. Maybe.
maybe, yeah.
So,
Like, yeah, like for me, like I played quite a bit of NBA with friends last year. Yeah, at uni. And like, so I didn't bring my PS4 with me. I bring my controller with me. So like, I'd go to a mate's house and then we would play PS4, and that way, yeah, it's got like I'm spending time with friends plus I'm playing the game that I enjoy as well. So it's like getting like two benefits out of it instead of just like being in my dorm and playing PlayStation.
yeah, that's also a just good point. So just bring your controller so that you don't have a console to actually play. but yeah, okay. So I don't know about you, Alex, but I think this has been a pretty productive episode.
Yeah, I
Definitely
really
said a lot.
enjoyed
I don't know
this.
if yeah, no, these are honestly great. Like I've got some more equipment coming as well. Like we're going to start bringing out some more content and stuff soon. So look forward to
Yeah,
that, everyone. Um, should we maybe give some analytics to the people to say how we're doing so far?
yeah, absolutely. Let's do
So
it.
Simplecast, if you haven't, I mean, how you probably have it on Simplecast. So if you're on YouTube watching this, um, check out Simplecast because we actually have 121 all-time downloads, which is a lot of people. So let's
Yeah,
think. So how many? We've got 5 episodes as of the time of this recording, and so what's that like? That's like what 24, at least 24 people have watched if they were to download every episode, basically.
yeah, and I think we have about 50% downloads from Apple Podcasts as well. I think so. I think that's the percentage.
I see. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's great. On like
yeah,
it's me and Alex are very happy that like this content is actually reaching people and
yeah.
hopefully making a difference.
Yeah, and
People out
also
there.
if you have any thoughts, you want to email us about the podcast. If you have a review, like you can leave a review on iTunes on the Apple Podcasts. Sorry, and if you just want to like give us some feedback, like send us an email. We'll have our email in the show notes. Like we'd love to hear what you think. Yeah,
Yeah, I think one of the like most fundamental things is when you're like sort of at the smaller stage and you're trying to grow and reach more people. I think it's engaging with the people that from the beginning is like really important because obviously there's probably not too many people because we just started, and I
yeah,
think it's good to engage. So just send us an email. We'd love to get in touch and hear about
yeah,
some things about you
yeah.
and
Even just email us on social media if that's easier for you as well.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
we've got Instagram. I think we're on most platforms, but they'll all be in the show notes. So
yeah.
do check that out.
So thanks a lot for listening, everyone. I hope you did enjoy it. Thanks, Luke, and yeah,
No,
we'll see you
thank
guys.
you, Alex. Thank you,
All right. Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
everyone.